Want to ride longer? Tired of a sore and achy ass? Then fix it with a high-quality butt buffer seat cushion. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store and check out our lineup of butt buffer seat cushions. Here's an email from Jim Edlund of Rockwall, Texas. He says, I purchased a denim 2014 FLHXS on July 5th. When it's cold, it's perfect. But once it warms up, it shudders when taking off. When I let off the gas at 30 in third or fourth gear, I think, 30 in third or 40 in fourth, it really shudders. At 10 miles an hour in first, it screams. Idling is very rough and makes a sound similar to the shudder sound. I put a few miles on it, 600, hoping it was my newbiness or break-in, but no change. I can't tell if it's physical vibration or a popping in exhaust or both. I took it to the dealer, Dallas HD, and after a 3-day runaround was told it's, quote, the 2014 Rattle. After Googling it, I'm not the only one, but there aren't many saying anything about it. Are you experiencing this shuddering? Here's my response to him via email. I said, I'm not aware of any routine, quote, shuddering problem. The only time mine, which if you guys didn't know, I do have a 2014 Street Glide Special. I said the only time mine has shudders is when me, the rider, made an error, which means I didn't give it enough gas at takeoff or started in second gear accidentally. If the engine is, quote, lugged, then it will shudder badly until the RPMs get up to the proper level. One can also lug the engine if in too high a gear for the speed. If you try to give it gas, then the gear is too high and thus it lugs the engine. You will certainly get shuddering. And I'll finish by saying, just ride it like you stole it. Run it hot. Run it hot. I can't tell you who's on the other line. You got anything to add to that there? You can't even give your name away or nothing yet. We're going to keep them in suspense. I got somebody on the line here.
No, I agree. Just ride it like you stole it, wait till it breaks, and then replace it or repair it.
There you go, buddy. I haven't heard of any. That's the only, and that was the first and last email I ever got about shuddering problems. So I hope that helped in some way. And if not, then hopefully if you're listening, bud, you'll get back to us and tell us, Jim Edlund, kind of what happened and how you got that fixed and what was going on. So, all right. Hey, Bikeaholics, 03D has a wide variety of innovative products for your Harley-Davidson and a brand new line for the all-new Honda Goldwing named Gold Strike. Top quality, affordable chrome lighting and comfort products. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of 03D products. This email is from Don Chandler of Columbus, Ohio. He writes, left a donation when using your contact form. Well, thank you, Don. That was nice of you. He says, hi, Ryan. I listened to your GTS, Boombox GTS, and Sony XAV7000 video and podcast, and I'm looking to upgrade my 2016 FLHXS Boombox. He says, the one I was wondering about is with the new GTS. I use a thumb drive of music on the 6.5 GT. If I go with the GTS, do I have to unplug the thumb drive from the USB cord to plug in my iPhone to use CarPlay, or is there a way to use both? I know you mentioned that on the 7000, it has a dual USB cords, one for the phone and one for the other thumb drive. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Don. Here's my response to Don via email, because he hit us up on our contact form. lawabidingbiker.com/contact is how he did that. He says, I said, thanks so much for the kind donation. Don, it definitely helps. We answer a ton of emails, and you got bumped up the line in a thanks for your donation. Unfortunately, to my knowledge, there is no way to do both on the GTS. You are correct. If you want to plug in your phone to use CarPlay, then you won't be able to have a thumb drive with music. The GTS will only recognize one USB device at a time. Wish I had a solution, but I don't. And I'll give a shout out to, or a ask to the listening audience. If any of you know of a solution that I'm not aware of to do that, please hit us up, lawabidingbiker.com/contact. Leave us a voicemail, leave us an email over there, the contact form, and let us know what you did to get around that if there is a way, and I would certainly be happy to share that with the audience. Person on the other line, do you have anything on that?
The only thing I can say is USB drives are kind of outdated now.
True.
If we're gonna use our phones for everything else like CarPlay, just load that music on your phone and rock and roll, man.
Yeah, good call. And I agree. That's kind of an old way to do it. It's fine. Some guys still want to roll that way, but I'm telling you, that's why they're doing that and not giving you two options, because most everybody is streaming, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Apple Music, or whether you're just loading the hard copies right on your phone, and or both. I do both because, they're just, it's a much better experience doing it that way than a thumb drive with music. But there you go. All right. Oh yeah, once you've had Rick Rack, you'll never go back. The ultimate motorcycle luggage rack solution. Forget those messy straps and bungee cords. Go strapless with a Rick Rack quick attach luggage system and quality bag. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Get hooked up now. All right, here we are. Yeah, I got a secret guest right here on the other line. He's looking at me. He's staring me down. Oh, you guys, he's just giving me the stink eye. Oh, hang on. He's showing me something in the screen. I got to see. Hang on. Hold that back up there. Double hazy. Attaboy. Double hazy IPA. I like it. There you go. We'll get into that. Welcome back, you freaking bikeaholics. This is the podcast for the motorcycle majority, the big MM, also known as the 99%. That's right. Large and in charge of the motorcycle scene more than any time in history. By being here, by listening. That's right. You're part of what we call the hashtag Biker Revolution. Me and my guest here, my remote guest, have just one question for you before we get started. What are you waiting for, bikeaholics? Mount up. Let us take you on another wild-ass ride. There you go, guys. Welcome back. Ryan Erlacher here, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast, and of course, your high-tech redneck. Just a couple things. We got an awesome episode for you here, and I'll let him introduce himself here in just a moment. He's standing by patiently. He's on I've had him on the line here for 5 minutes. He's on his third double hazy IPA, so this should be a real great episode. No, he's not, but he is on the other line. But a couple of things. I always try to announce a new video, guys, so this is one we've had out for a while on the YouTube channel. Make sure you get over there. We're blowing it up over there. I'm putting out as much content as I humanly possibly can. This video is our best stainless steel saddlebag safety bolts and extended seat bolts for Harley Live. So it was a live event that I did just on video. It's been out for a little while. Anyways, we go over our Rick Rack steel saddlebag safety bolts, which we sell the bejesus out of. Get rid of those, unsafe pins, and even the new system is not that great. It's kind of clunky. This is what we all run on our bikes, and we love the Rick Rack saddlebag safety bolts. You don't want to lose one of those saddlebags and know it's secure. We've got they ratchet just a little bit. They're really neat, and they turn. It's the new model we have in the store now than the old ones, and they have like a washer with dimples, and it actually ratchets in just a little bit to lock and make sure that they stay secure, although I never had any problems with our older version that didn't do that. Nonetheless, and our extended seat bolts for Hardy, which are really nice, chrome and black, and we've got longer ones, especially for like ultra touring. It extends up so you can reach down with your thumb. They're kind of gnarled. I don't know how to say that, but they're easy to get out, so you don't have to get a screwdriver in there. I'm running one on the night train out here, and also on the Street Glide Special. Just makes getting your seat off and on. They're super high quality, as usual, from Rick Rack. I will put a link in the description below, but it's lawabidingbiker.com/Rick Rack. That's RICKRAK-seat-bolts. And again, lawabidingbiker.com/whatever episode number this is. It will be in the show notes. All right. Now, that's right. I do have, we love our sponsors up front. Absolutely love our sponsors. And we have one of our sponsors right here on the phone because he's a patron member that we're going to be talking to today. We're going to be talking about riding. Specifically, we're going to do some biker talk and just chill and hang out, but get a little background, but we're specifically going to dive into riding and getting over or dealing with back injuries and stuff like that. I brought him on specially for this, and you'll find out why in a minute. But I want to thank the following new patrons: Daniel Sanders of Carbon, Indiana, Michael Severson of Goldville, Iowa, top tier Dave Henriksen of Temecula, California. You heard of Temecula, California, since you're from down that way? Yes, sir, he has. All right. And finishing off here, guys, a couple more patrons: Scott Lees of Conway, South Carolina, Brian Tucson of Youngstown, Ohio, John Kodaluk of Carnation, Washington. I certainly know where that is, right here in Washington State. Chip Perky of Winchester, California. Look at that. More California guys. Danny Vincent and Nico Tregoning of Moses Lake, Washington, which is only about an hour away from here. Very nice. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon. Patreon. Pledge a certain amount per piece of content. No risk to you because you can put a monthly cap. That's right. There are benefits such as t-shirts and stickers. Getting that awesome private Facebook group, which is my guest, where we communicate a lot. You get this one's coming out this podcast episode months before it will ever release on regular podcast format. Of course, the live video broadcast chat and top tier access to our premium videos up on request. There you go. And the patron community is growing like never before. It still amazes me. And so there we go. On the line with me right there, I do have one, Matt Haywood. And that's another benefit, of course, we like of being a patron member, mid-level or above, is we like to get you guys on the platform. You all have different experiences, knowledge, and expertise. And I'll let him introduce himself in a second. The first time I met Mr. Matt Haywood here from Merced, California, is at the first ever West Coast Patron Meetup. Now, I had met him online, like a lot of you, but I got to shake his hand and meet him down there, and he revealed some information to me about back injury and riding with back injuries, and we got to chat just a little bit, and then he's like, hey, I think it would be a good episode. I'm like, hell yeah, it would be a great episode, and I'm certain it can help bikers. So there you go. Matt, do you want to introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself and what you're willing to share, and then we'll kind of dive in.
Well, I think you just did a fabulous job. I don't think I have anything else to say. Don't want to gloat on myself. But
yeah, right.
Well, a little bit about me. Native California. I'm about 38 years old now. Ever since a teenager, all I wanted to be was a police officer. I served 14 years before my career ended to an on-duty traffic collision. Bunch of back surgeries since then, and I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit here. Other than that, just trying to live life as a retired police officer now, and then maybe I can give you some foresight on that one too. Yeah,
I definitely. And still working hard, and we'll talk a little bit about that too. Just retired from law enforcement, but still working, right?
Yeah, well, I've been retired since 2015, so
yep.
It's been about 5 years now.
Okay, well, give me a little, because I save a lot of this stuff. I got to talk to you a little bit, but let's take it back. Let's take it back to when little Matt was little. Little Matt Haywood was running around.
Yeah, let's do it.
So how did you grow up in the California area? Is that where you're from originally?
Yeah, I was born and raised down in the Los Angeles area, and then moved up to the foothills of Calaveras County. In '89, I stayed there till about 2000, and then moved down to the Central Valley. So.
Wow. So lived in California your whole life. Are you trying to get out like everybody else, or what?
That's the plan. Very shortly here, I'm hoping, but I think I'm stuck here for at least another 10 years.
Yeah, I got a few friends like that down there that are like, kind of hanging on and going, when I retire officially or whatever, they're out. A lot of law enforcement guys. Yeah. How's Merced? Yeah. What's that close to? I didn't look on Google Maps. That's northern, right?
We're about an hour north of Fresno. So
okay,
but one of the best things about living in the Central Valley, though, we're 2.5 hours from everywhere. We can go to the beach, we can go to major cities, we can go to the mountains. Hell, I could even make Reno in 3.5 hours if I wanted to.
Is Merced like? What's the population? What are we looking at? I'm just not that familiar. I know kind of where it is now,
but Merced right now, I think the last audit or whatever you want to call it, census, I think they said there was like 70,000 almost.
Oh. Okay. So it's a bit smaller than where I live, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Unfortunately, there's not much going on here in this city, and especially this whole year. It's been pretty rough. We've been losing a lot of major companies, and it's kind of a depressing state that we're living in right now.
Yeah, I know. Did a lot of stuff going on. I've talked to a lot of people who are exiting. Yeah, looking for different opportunities and stuff. I hope it gets better in time.
Yeah, the hard thing is trying to figure out where you want to go.
Right. Yeah. I see a lot of Californians exodus to Texas.
Yeah, I don't know. I got family in Arizona, but for some reason, Idaho and Tennessee just keeps popping in my head.
Oh, dude, Idaho. I absolutely. Now I love Washington State, but it's it tends to be a very liberal state too. Luckily, we're separated by the Cascades, so Eastern Washington is very much more conservative and more just farmlands and, those more traditional values and stuff. So we're kind of separated from it, although, it's controlled by the west side of the state as far as without getting political, just the way the state runs. But Idaho.
Yeah, that's just like California though, too, because, we're in the Central Valley, which, really conservative. And then we have the coastal range. And then on the other side of the coast is, pretty liberal, and it's just hard. Yeah, I hear you. That's true. That's a good point that you're kind of separated a bit too in a pocket like kind of we are over here. So, Idaho though, man, if I didn't have everything set up here, second pick from where I live right now would definitely be Idaho, northern Idaho. God, that's beautiful. My eyes to Idaho. I mean, watching some of the videos and you guys talking about it, it's like, hey, let's take a look over there. And now it's a second love almost. Still haven't been up there though yet.
Yeah, I cut you off, or the digital sounded. Did you said somebody's from Idaho, your family?
No, I was saying that thanks to your videos, it's opened my eyes to Idaho.
I got you. Yeah, buddy, it is freaking awesome. I love Boise too. It's fun down there. So tell me how you got into little Matt back in the day growing up in California. What's your memories of motorcycles and how did we get into that?
So honestly, I don't have a huge motorcycling background growing up. I do know when I was quite young that my first experience was burning my rib cage on an open exhaust on my uncle's motorcycle.
Nice.
Yeah, so that kind of left a lasting impression.
How'd you do that?
I was so young, I don't remember. From what my mom would tell me is that my uncle just got back from riding his bike, and I just happened to go up to go touch his motorcycle and ended up touching the pipes with my rib cage. And
yeah, buddy.
Yeah. But other than that, I really didn't start getting into motorcycles until probably the early 2000s, working with a bunch of my LE buddies, and peer pressure got the best of me, and I started riding motorcycles.
What's your first bike?
It was a 2005 Yamaha R6.
Wow.
Bought it brand new off the showroom floor, and 3 weeks later, I laid it down after coming across a car that cut across an intersection right in front of me, and I had no choice but to go under or over the car, and I chose over.
Wow, man! I'm looking at this bike. I looked it up, the 2005 Yamaha R6. So you went straight for the old crotch rocket.
Yes, sir.
I did too in high school. I had a crotch rocket. That was one of my first street bikes. But how'd that accident go? You went over the car?
Yeah, it was one of those split decisions where I jump off the bike, land on the hood of the car. Car took off. I picked the bike up and went to work.
No, really, man.
Yeah. So luckily wasn't total. There wasn't much damage. Just those bikes are all plastic. So replaced the plastics and off I went.
So straight up hit and run, dude. They left you for dead.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
They had a nice set of 10.5 size footprints on their hood though. So
yeah. Did you ever find that or anything, or just let it go?
No, just let it go. Yeah, I think I was more embarrassed that I let my bike down after only having it for 3 weeks than anything else.
Yeah. So how long did you kept that bike for a while, or what?
Yeah, I kept that bike, and that kind of mixed into my whole back injury story. But we'll take the Cliff Notes version of here. And I sold that bike in 2015 at the recommendations of my attorneys. And about 3 years later, I decided it was time for me to get back on two wheels.
You hang on a second. You sold that bike at the recommendation of your attorneys. What is that about, dude?
Well, that goes into the whole getting a back injury and going through workman's comp and that type of stuff.
I gotcha. So it's part of that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to connect the dots. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got, I'm trying to do a timeline here. So you were already LE, law enforcement before you got that bike?
Yeah. So I started my law enforcement career actually when I was 14 years old as an explorer.
Oh yeah.
And, so going up through the ranks, finished my Explorer program, started dispatching for a couple local agencies here. And while dispatching full time, I put myself through a modular academy. And once I finished that academy out, I became a full-time police officer in 2002.
Okay.
No, reserve in 2002. I'm sorry. I came full-time in 2004. So. And
what age did that put you out? So I don't have to do the math.
Oh, I was 23 when I became full-time police officer.
You and me both are young.
There you go. Amen, brother.
Yeah, right at 23. I was reserving.
You look younger than I do, though, so.
Sorry, I cut you off. What's that?
No, I was saying you look a little younger than I do at this point.
I don't know about that, man, but I appreciate it. So you had this bike for, and so we're going to talk about your accident on the job. But yeah. I'm trying to do the timeline. You kept this bike for a shitload of years.
Yeah, I kept it for 10 years, man. I didn't put very many miles on it. My riding career pretty much was from 2005 to 2010. In that time, I put about 12,000 miles on that sport bike. Rode a couple different motorcycles in between. But yeah, I ended up selling it in 2015 after I couldn't ride it for a few years.
Okay. We're going to dive in a little bit deeper here and get to the meat and potatoes here, but I want to do this real quick. Ride longer and treat your ass with some respect already, Matt. Get hooked up with a premium buffer seat cushion. This company of bikers developed a super thin hospital-grade seat cushion made of solid and elastic materials, and it's unlike gel pads that will leak if punctured. The butt buffer is designed not to slide around on your seat. Fits all motorcycles, installs in seconds, easily cleans, and helps to dampen vibrations. With plenty of models to choose from, they assure you'll have a comfortable ass when riding. Head over to the Law Abiding Biker store and check out our full line of butt buffer seat cushions, guys. And I'm running one, and actually I'm getting ready to film a video on it to put out on the YouTube channel to give you guys a little bit more information as we ramp up with Butt Buffer, who's a great company. I'm running one on the off-road KLR too, the dual sport, one of the pillion pads, and it's working out really, really well. So 5 to 10, you say 5 to 10 on this bike basically, and you start getting the itch. Did you tell me this? Because I want to dive back, but at some point you got a Harley. You get a Harley well after your accident on duty, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of a funny story. I bought my R6 in 2005. My wife at the time, we bought her a 2007 Sportster, which really introduced me to the Harley family. And I found myself riding that a little bit more than my sport bike. And then some of the family members, they all had Harleys. So if they wanted to go for a ride, I'd hop on one of their bikes. But in 2018, I decided I needed to get back on two wheels and told the wife, hey, let's go to the Harley dealer just to look, and walked out of there with a bike.
Awesome. And I want to talk about that bike a little bit more. So now that gives me and the audience a timeline. So let's back it up. This is where the back injury comes in. So we're a police officer. We've got an R6, and you were 14 years into your career, which puts you, if you're 23, 33, what is that? 37, right?
Yep.
In there? 37
now. I'm 38 next month.
Okay. Yeah. So you're serving for a law enforcement municipality. I don't know if you want to mention the name. You don't have to. That's up to you as we dive in. But you're 14-year veteran municipal police officer, and tell us what happens that is very life-changing for you.
So it was more of a progressive thing. Us police officers, we put ourselves through a lot of physical trauma, whether we like to admit it or not. And I think the whole start of the thing was back in November of 2006 when I was engaged in a pursuit of a felony suspect and lost control of my patrol car and hit a tree head on. And it was about 2 years after that I started getting really significant back spasms to the point where I would literally be almost paralyzed for a few days. And eventually just it was getting to the point where I couldn't work. And in February 2009, I had my first back surgery due to some herniated discs. During that, they decided that they were going to fuse my L5 to S1 vertebrae. And then...
Can you tell me what that means, fusing a vertebrae?
Yeah, so basically they... the surgeons go in there and they extend your butt crack a little bit longer to get into your lumbar spine. And they get in there and they remove the gelatinous disc that's in there. They put a carbon fiber cage between your vertebrae, and then they put a bunch of titanium hardware to hold everything together while the bone regrows.
Okay. My sister-in-law had something, she fell down the stairs and I remember getting a cage. Does that hardware stay in there?
Yeah, so it's optional. Some surgeons say that once the bone is completely fused and grown together, that the hardware is removable. In my case, my surgeon says that I'm going to have my hardware for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So
you're thinking as generally a result, obviously, because we talked. So for the audience, me and Matt talked, and in no way do I want to even, and that's why I tell my mom, she's got she's like partially crippled. So my back problems, she sees me stretching, I'll stop by her house on duty and I have to do these specific stretches and try to get my spine to move because I'm experienced back issues late in my 25-year Leo career here. And it's definitely due to wearing duty belts and gear and sitting in a car and wrong position and typing on a computer. Matt knows what I'm talking about. Any law enforcement officer, it's wrong. It's not ergonomic. They make us do it and it fucks up our back. And my back, I'm really starting as I'm turning 48 this month. So me and Matt talked briefly, but in no way, because I'm very, compared to a lot of people, mine are not significant compared to that. So, but I will talk about mine just a little bit, which is what sparked our conversation. So you're talking a totally different deal here. But the cage, the fuse in 2009, you're thinking that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but a result of the pursuit and the head-on or the collision with the tree or pole, you said, and typical cop crap.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a tree, but I think it just, the everyday running after bad guys and, like you said, sitting in a patrol car all cramped up, trying to write a report and those type of things. With, most people don't realize that us police officers, we carry at least an extra 30, 35 pounds on our hips. And this was back then, this was before we went to like the chest carriers and those type of things. So we were more traditional uniform. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it puts a lot of strain on your lower back, your hips, your knees. Oh yeah.
Yeah. My department's still foolish that way. They won't bite off on the load bearing vests, which a lot of departments are doing now. That would help me so much, but it doesn't make any sense. Different police agencies do different things and some are way behind the times and some are progressive and ours is definitely in that area. I would love so much, unless you're in a specialty unit, you can't wear a load-bearing vest. I would love to get all this shit off my back.
I got to tell you, when I put my load-bearing vest on, it was the uniform style. So it wasn't like these tactical vests. It looked like a uniform shirt. As far as appearance-wise, a lot of people look at law enforcement as like traditional appearance looking. I got to tell you, I didn't get much backlash from the community. But I can tell you that just having the weight off your hips and back up onto your shoulders was 100 times improvement. But I could tell you that with that vest, I actually felt more fatigued. And I think that has more to do with my back injuries because now the weight's above my injury versus below it.
Okay, so that might be specific to your injury then?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I've been in units in the past where I got to wear, load-bearing LBVs, and it was definitely helpful. Now, for years, I've wore suspenders. I'm one of the suspender guys, and that helps at least take some of the pressure off my hips. I was an early adopters of those before people really liked them, but they couldn't really say anything about it because, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear you.
It's like they don't want to fight that battle if you have back problems, but now they're acceptable. Nobody even bet.
Yeah, you became the laughing stock of the department because you're wearing suspenders.
Yep. Now lots of guys wear them.
Yeah.
They're like, that's pretty smart. Yeah. That's why carpenters have been wearing them forever. Yeah. Carpenters and other people that carry heavy loads, there's a reason they wear suspenders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 2009, you got the fused, is that how you say it? The fused disc? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what are we doing from here, man? So you're still plugging away. That probably took you out of work for a while.
Yeah. So I was, after my surgery, I did all my physical therapy, that type of stuff. And at the time, my workman's comp attorneys and my surgeons were telling me that I would never be a police officer again. And that's the only thing I ever knew how to do and the only thing I strived to do since I was 14. So I proved them wrong. I got medical clearance to go back to work in 2010, late 2010. And I didn't have any issues until 2014, until my career suddenly ended. But, during that time, I did pretty much everything you could think of in a small department. I worked traffic. I worked, school resource officer where I ended my career. I did task force work, undercover work, detectives, all that kind of stuff. So I had a great career, man. I had a great career. I absolutely love it. I miss it. I'm glad I'm not there today. But, if the world was changing, I might be in a different place.
Yeah. So 2010 to 2014, you say you're back. This fused surgery pretty much corrected you enough or were you going through pain? And
No, that was the funny thing is after that surgery, I had no long lasting effects and I was back 100%. I was riding motorcycles. I was, I was doing paintball. I was doing everything you could think of as a normal, 26, 27-year-old kid. And, I had a great time and I didn't have any issues at all.
Okay. So now we're going to dive into the career-ending accident. I'm going to do this. Hey, Bikeaholics, searching for new and exciting motorcycle products? Zero 3D has a products you dream about for your bike. Check out their wide variety of innovative products for Harley-Davidson and Honda Goldwing motorcycles. Zero 3D's got your back with chrome and black parts, lighting, and other comfort products. No modifying, cutting, grinding, or welding for an easy installation. That equals less time installing, more time riding. Zero 3D has a design team of riders with over 40 years experience with a passion for design and innovation. Zero Gold Strike are the motorcycle LED lighting innovators for CAN bus plug-and-play system compatibility. They pride themselves on great customer service. Got a question? Get in touch with them via email, sales@zero3d.com. Give them a call, 715-808-0027. Check out your local Harley or Honda dealership and ask for Zero or Gold Strike parts. A new leader has emerged, Bikeaholics, so check out Zero 3D's custom line of Gold Strike products for the all-new Honda Goldwings. Better yet, help support us. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/store. Check out our full line of Zero 3D products. All right, so on duty and something tragic happened here. Tell me this story. I know very little about it.
Yeah, so 2014, I was a school resource officer for one of our local high schools, and I was on the way home in my marked police car, and as I was going through an intersection, a utility line truck blew a red light and hit me in the B pillar, the passenger side, right in the middle of my patrol car, pushed me a couple 100 feet, and then they ended up fleeing the scene. So
you don't have good luck with hit and runs, bro.
No, I don't. And that's kind of why the reason I'm glad I'm not working anymore. Some reason that black and white just attracted crap to me.
So a actual utility truck, like a legit utility truck, did a hit and run on a police car.
Yeah.
Bet that guy went to jail.
Well, funny thing is he claimed that he had a seizure and didn't recall. And the investigating agency, I'll not disclose who that agency is, but they ended up letting the guy walk after going against medical advice from some doctors and the ambulance service. And nothing happened after that. And, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about it, but I don't know. I was there, and I can tell you that I actually interacted with the gentleman before he fled the scene, and I didn't see any evidence of that medical condition he was claiming.
You were on duty in uniform, and he fled the scene, and you talked to him.
Yeah, after the accident, he was still stuck in the middle of the intersection, and after crawling out of my car, I waved him over, and he pulled over. He was about 100 feet from me, and as I was walking up to him, he was making the felony look in the mirror, and paying really good attention to me. And as I got about 6 feet from the truck, he decided to bolt.
Guy's not bright, clearly. Definitely not a bright individual. Did you take it in the B pillar on your side, driver's side?
It was the passenger side. It was the passenger side B pillar.
Okay. How far did we get intrusion into the compartment there of the car? Pretty bad?
Yeah, it was about a 22-inch intrusion.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Where did you end up? Did it must have pushed you for a ways?
Yeah, he pushed me about just over 100 feet. He spun my car and pushed me, and my car came to rest actually up at height centered on a curb. So it's hard to describe, but
sure.
Essentially on the other side of the intersection is where I ended up.
Did you realize you were severely injured?
At the time, no. I think adrenaline kicked in. I got out of my car. I was, doing the police officer thing, making sure nobody else was injured, make sure nobody else was involved, making sure the roadway was clear. I was on the radio telling, dispatch about everything. And it wasn't until I got all of that information out that I started realizing that I really couldn't feel my left leg.
Wow. So where do we go from there?
So, lovely ambulance ride back to the hospital, several hours in the ER, and ended up going back home on some nice, good feeling pain meds. And I was off of work for about 8 months after that. Heavy physical therapy, the discussions of more surgeries, but they didn't see anything structural. So decided to go back to work that August. And continue my work from August into November as a school resource officer. But every day it became harder to get in and out of my patrol car, get harder to get up and out of my desk. I was afraid that if I had to get into a physical altercation with somebody that I could be even more of a liability than anything else. And after talking with the family, we made the decision to go ahead and pull the plug.
What do you mean by getting harder to get up out of your desk? And for somebody that doesn't have the listening audience back problems, is it pain or is it lack of function?
For me, it was both. For me, it was standing up and not being able to support my weight of my body on my left leg. But also the fact that because of the pain, I couldn't stand straight up. I was constantly hunched over, and I wasn't in a good position.
Wow. And I take it you obviously did physical therapy. Did we go through chiropractor and all that kind of stuff trying to figure this crap out?
So that's the funny thing is chiropractic work always worked for me, but because I had a fused spine, no chiropractor would touch me.
Oh.
They would do massaging and they would stretch me out, but they wouldn't do any adjustments or anything like that in fear of damaging the fusion. So I went acupuncture, I did yoga, I did all these type of things, and nothing really helped. So,
oh man, that's frustrating. Wow. So you obviously, as you stated, you pulled the plug from law enforcement, and then where do we go from there? What are you doing? Or, as far as, did you continue treatment, or, we figured any of this out?
Yeah. So 2015, I medically retired. My retirement was finalized. January of 16, I had another back surgery where they fused the L4 through the S1. They actually found a microfracture in that previous fusion. So they decided that they were going to have to go one level up. And then in March of 2016, I had another revision of that same surgery because the cage they put in my L4-S1, the carbon fiber spacer between those two vertebrae had slipped. And when it slipped, it literally crushed the nerves to my left leg. And thank you to the workman's comp system, I was essentially paralyzed for 6 weeks laying on my living room couch until we can get them to approve that revision surgery in March. So that was a pretty rough stint there. But, things work out for a reason. I had that surgery in March of 16, bunch of physical therapy later, and I was back working a normal job at a retail gun store here by July of that year.
Wow, man. That's a lot to go through.
Yeah. It was, trials and tribulations, but I got to tell you what, man, if I wouldn't have experienced those things and experienced the time that I had as a police officer and the stuff like that, I don't think I'd be here where I am today. I can tell you that I'm a much better person now than I was when I was a police officer. Yep.
I know. And that life does that to you. Like, I've been through some everybody goes through their own shit. Right. And been through some very difficult times in the past, through different trials and tribulations. And I tell you that you never grow more than a person, even though you don't like it during those times and it hurts and it sucks. It's those times that I grew more as a person than I ever do when everything's just fine, right? Because there's no reason to grow, right? And spiritually, mentally, so I definitely can relate.
So, to kind of finish the answer here for your question is, so since my law enforcement career, I worked at a gun store. I've done some high-end executive protection security work. I've done some work for the NFL. I worked at the Super Bowl last year in Miami. And now I've decided that, I've always loved teaching. I've always loved firearms. So those two go hand in hand. So now I have a pretty successful firearms training business that I own and run.
Yeah. What's the name of it?
It's Hard Focus Firearms Training.
Yep. And so down in that area, I'm sure you do multiple counties, just if somebody's listening and they're in that area and want to get a hold of you.
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to my website, hardfocustraining.com. I do everything from CCW certification to security guard training to private lessons for whatever you need. I got you covered.
There you go. In and around the Merced, California greater area there. So yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. So during obviously all these surgeries, we're going to talk about motorcycles and how this has affected you. As far as motorcycle, obviously during all the surgeries, like riding isn't even a thing, right?
Right. Yeah. So, like I said, I sold that R6, my first bike in 2010. And that was about a year after my first surgery. And that was the recommendations of my workman's comp attorneys going, hey, we're in this middle of this lawsuit. You're claiming that you have some significant back injuries, but if you have this bike and you're caught riding around on it, your opposition could claim that you're making false statements. So ended up selling that sport bike, which was kind of a blessing in disguise because I rode that thing harder than I should have. And then, so I really didn't own a bike until after my full retirement was done. And, I said we got that Street Glide, that 18 Street Glide Special in 2000. Well, I actually bought it on New Year's Eve of 2017. And then since then, I've purchased a 1982 FXR Shovelhead. And then I got that from a brother of mine who passed away. And I also bought his 2005 Road Glide that is now in possession of my brother-in-law. So,
what year is the shovel?
It's an 82.
82 FXR. That's badass.
That's the funny side is the guy that owned this, his name was Stan, and God bless him. But him and I used to always ride together, and we'd tell each other, I always told them, hey, if you're ever going to get rid of that bike, that's mine, because you bought that bike the same year, the same month that I was born. So, so that bike has some pretty sentimental value to me.
That's badass, man. I like to see that bad boy. Let's do this, and then go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you've probably seen it. I've been posting pictures of it all over our
That's right.
Facebook page.
Yeah, I did. I think I responded to one of those comments in the private patron Facebook group. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's do this, and then we're going to dive into a little bit more about riding and maybe some tips and tricks and things like that. So, are you searching for the easiest and quickest attachable luggage system for your motorcycle? Rick Rack has just what you're looking for. Forget all those frustrating straps and bungee cords that can come loose and slap your paint. Check out one of Rick Rack's awesome quick attached strapless luggage rack systems. This father-son team designed something really special. You can't find it anywhere else. Yep, these guys ride. So they truly understand the needs of bikers. The Rick Rack Quick Attach system is strong, durable, and secure with a lockable system. Also, check out their full line of quality touring bags to accompany your quick detach system. Once you use Rick Rack, you'll never go back. What are you waiting for, Bikeaholics? Head over to the Law Abiding Biker store and check out our full line of Rick Rack systems and bags. All right, so we got the 18 Street Glide Special, which is obviously your touring baby. How's riding these days with the back and all that?
It can be difficult at sometimes. Absolutely. When I first got it, the first thing I did was make it fit me better. The seats, handlebars, all that type of stuff that really made a difference. But yeah, I got to tell you, 200-mile days can actually take a toll on you when you're suffering some back stuff. But, I've been able to do 600-mile days and been okay the day after.
What happens to you while you're riding? What are because there's a lot of the community probably has different, varying degrees of back stuff like me. What are you experiencing when it's uncomfortable or that kind of thing?
For me specifically, it's more muscle fatigue, achiness, that type of stuff. But for me personally, I haven't really heard anybody experience this. I get a lot of muscle cramps in my left leg while I ride, especially for long distances. My everyday life, even if I'm not riding, I feel like I have shin splints in my legs 24 hours a day. So, you kind of get over that and you get used to it. But when you're riding, if you have that muscle spasm or that muscle cramp in your leg, that can be kind of tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. Like if you're cramped and you come to a stop at an intersection and your leg's cramped, have you had that happen?
Yeah, there's been a few times where I've put my right foot down instead of my left because my left leg was cramped up.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good because I usually only put one foot down too. So it's good to get good at both, at just putting one foot down and make sure you know both in your situation. So you're still doing some good touring days. Not saying, and you've been okay the next day. What do you mean by that?
Well, because, if you read, some of these forums and some of these articles online about people with back injuries or, they sit there and go, if I can't ride more than 150 miles. And if I do that the next day, I can't get out of my bed, So I understand what a lot of people are saying when it comes to that, but I think it more comes down to the fit of your motorcycle and your abilities to kind of overcome some of your, I don't want to say disabilities, but some of the deficiencies you have to actually ride. So,
okay, so
I think that's where we were headed to this one.
Yeah. So what are you suggesting for people out there that, may be experiencing? What are some things that they can do on maybe let's dive into equipment a little bit right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about bike modifications, right? I think the most important thing that we can do, that helped me was having a seat that actually fit my ass properly. And that adjustable backrest, a fixed backrest is nice, but it really helps to actually have that adjustable backrest to modify your seating position while you're riding. That's one of the biggest things that I found is with everything going on, you got to be able to change your seating position a lot. when you're riding longer distances, especially in my situation. If I was stuck in a specific riding position, I could tell you I'd be 50-mile days and I'd be done.
That's where I'm at now too. I got to be able to, because I'll just get so stiff and I can't. Yeah.
So I currently, like on my Street Glide, I'm running the Harley hammock seat. It's not heated, unfortunately, but riding that with the Harley driver adjustable backrest.
What's the backrest? Sorry, so I have the Harley hammock, but this adjustable backrest you speak of for the audience, what is it?
So it's the Harley Davidson. It's their factory adjustable backrest. So it's got a little hydraulic lever that mounts up underneath the left side of the frame, and you pull up on that lever and it adjusts your the backrest angle. So not necessarily the height, but it goes forward or back.
Oh, okay. So I just have the manual one. So it has, you squeeze it and it has different heights, and the back rocks, but it doesn't stay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I looked at that one, but I figured, if I'm going to spend the money and the Harley tax on some parts, I'm going to get something that I might have to replace later on. So this one worked really well. As a matter of fact, my uncle, who's also a patron member, Dan, he was talking about a backrest, and I got him to have that. And he said that was the greatest modification he's made to his motorcycle, was having that adjustable backrest.
I might have to go to that. See, I'm learning all the time. So I love talking to the community like this, because everybody has expertise, because that's the one I have right now. But as I'm dealing with a few more back problems in my latter years here, or mid years, whatever you want to call them, that might be the bee's knees, man.
The biggest thing that it'll sit you up or it'll recline you all the way back, right? So being able to adjust that on the fly while you're riding your motorcycle makes the difference in the world. I mean, it's completely different.
What about this on that backrest? If you're riding, so right behind me, I have to, when I'm on these long trips, I have my Rick Rack quick detach system on the very back, but on that passenger seat and attached to my backrest is my backpack with film gear. Is it still going to have some level of adjustability, or do you know?
No, absolutely. Well, actually, when I rode up to the Patron meetup up in Redmond, thank you, Brad Johnson, for hosting that. That was an awesome time. I had my bag strapped to the passenger pillion, and it was secured on my backrest, and I still had full functionality of that adjustment the entire time. Yeah.
So you just, while you're riding down the road on the longer days, you're just basically telling me that you're adjusting it to different positions just to get some help with some of the discomfort and stuff.
Yeah, force me to sit up or lean forward or allow me to relax a little bit. That's a life changer.
I might have to do that. No, do a video on it, of course, but I might have to look into that now.
I can come up there and you can do a video on the bike.
That would be badass too, dude. Yeah, we're going to be rolling the same hammock and adjustable backrest, man. No doubt. What are some other equipment things that people can do?
So just real quick, to stay on the seat, right? You really have to find the seat that works for you. Now, I know a lot of people that say, a firmer seat works better for them. I mean, there's companies out there like Saddlemen that make really good seats. But for me, that firmness, even though it's really supportive, isn't comfortable to me. I feel like I'm almost an extension of the motorcycle's frame at that point. Whereas with the hammock, it's a lot softer suspension feeling, and it makes it easier for me to ride. But you got to find what works for you. But I can tell you also that even though I really love my hammock seat, I still ride with the cushions. I've run all the air cushions. Now that you guys carrying the butt buffers, I might be ordering one from you here pretty quick, because, the Airhawk that I have, it popped and there's not much in there anymore. And
I'm running one of those on mine now too, on my hammock, and I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Even with the hammock, it just helps to have that too. Yeah.
Right. And then, I know it's looked down, or, people kind of laugh about it, but I got to tell you, padded bicycle shorts, those have been a lifesaver while I'm riding too. Even though I have a nice sofa-like motorcycle seat, the padded bicycle shorts really help there. But, outside of the seats, I got to tell you, one of the biggest changes that I did that really helped was, believe it or not, putting the extended floorboard brackets on my bike to kick them out another 3/4 of an inch. And that really allowed me to be able to put my feet in different places when I was riding. And I thought I kind of feel that that's key. If you're static in one position for a long period of time, you get really fatigued easily. But if you can move your feet about and, get different positions, have like more of a mid control feel, and then be able to extend your legs out, it really makes a difference when you're riding. So
those floorboards you just extended, not forward, but out.
Yeah. Okay. I kicked them out.
Yeah. Did you just go with a Hardy product on that?
I think I went Kiriakin on those.
Yeah, Kiriakin makes something like that. There's a bunch of companies that Ciro. Yeah, there's and they're all a bit different, but it's an easy solution. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it took me 5 minutes, and it made the difference in the world. The forward controls, or not forward controls, but your highway pegs and that type of stuff. The biggest thing about the highway pegs is you got to adjust them so you have multiple positions. I know a lot of people that put their highway pegs up high on the crash bars, where they just like to lay their legs up on top of them. I found it more beneficial to me to actually have them where I can rest my toes on them, but then I can rest my feet on them, and then I could actually put my whole leg over them and just kind of rest my ankles on them while I'm riding. And again, it's all about flexibility in different positions when you ride.
Yep, I agree. And I don't care about looks at the way I am now, and I haven't for years. I don't care about looks because the guys would tease me about my Harley hammock. It looks like a damn sofa on your bike. I said, yep, now a lot of them are getting it, but you know how that goes. Same with the full face helmet. Now they're all wearing full face helmets, but I'm like, I don't care. I want to ride. I want to ride hard. I want to ride cross country, and I want to be as comfortable as humanly possible. I got nothing to prove to anybody, and you can tease me. I don't care, So yeah, sounds like you're the same.
Yeah, it's definitely not the best looking seat in the world. I got to tell you that.
No, and I agree, but I don't care. Yeah.
My ass likes comfort better than what it's sitting on. So
yeah, exactly. Oh, I did the younger days of rolling with the bike with the bare bones LaPera seat and all that. And yeah, but I wasn't riding 600-mile days either, because I wouldn't have made it even as a young man. So yeah, those days are over. I got nothing to prove. So yeah, comfort first. What else?
As far as bike modifications, the only other thing I can tell you is handlebars. We all know that the bars that come on our motorcycles aren't fitted to us. They're a universal fit, and they don't fit everybody the same. And, I went with a 12-inch bar. That put my arms exactly level with my shoulders. So it took a lot of the strain off my lower back. And I have them angled in such a way where when I'm riding, it forces me to be more upright rather than lounged back. So I have them pushed up pretty close to my fairing. And that takes a lot of the strain off of your lower back. When when you're sitting up in a lounge position or a slanted position, or, slouching, what we like to call it, that puts almost triple to quadruple the strain on your lower back and your hips. So if we can sit up more upright and have the controls of our motorcycle force us to sit up, we can ride a lot longer distances.
Oh, that's music to my ears, because that's where I'm at, and I can feel it. And, I spend a god-awful amount of hours in the video editing room, and I've got a uplift desk now, and I had to invest some serious money, because I was like, I can't do this anymore. I had an old chair, which was cool, but it clearly was not good on my back. So I've got the ergonomic chair. I can stand up, and I've got the little thing you stand on to balance, and it keeps your back loose. And just same on a motorcycle. It's a little more difficult on a motorcycle, but on my bike, I found that when I'm riding, I force myself to sit up straight, because if I go into that slouch, and I probably look like kind of a dork, but I sit up straight, and I have to kind of keep my back posture, and I can kind of arch my back. I do little exercises where I'll have my hands on my on my bars, and then I do them off the bike too, but you can do some. I found I had to figure out how to do them on the bike, and I can really arch that lower back for a while and do these exercises where I move it in and out. And I'm sure I look like a total dork, but I don't care. And that helps me keep it loose a little bit.
Yeah. And, we'll stay on that topic real quick. I got to tell you, the best thing that's helped me is stretching. And I'm not talking about stretching when I'm off the motorcycle. I'm talking about learning how to stretch when you're actually on the motorcycle. I've actually got pretty good at riding side saddle with that bike on cruise control, which allows me to stretch my lower back in a side to side manner. Being able to put your legs up on your highway pegs or even on top of your lower fairings if you have them on there, and then really reach out and put your wrists on top of your bars, maybe even try to grab the fairing while you're riding. I mean, that does wonders while you're riding, man. When we rode up to Redmond, we were moving. We left here. I left here in Merced at 6:00 in the morning, and we pulled in to Redmond, Oregon at 6:00 that night. And it was, what I was thinking is like just under 600 miles in 12 hours on a motorcycle with back issues. I wouldn't have been able to make it if I wasn't able to stretch while I was riding.
That's good. Those are some good tips and tricks. So yeah, reaching up over the fairing, I gave one that I do. And I obviously, if you got to stop and take a leak or at the gas station, sometimes while I'm filling my bike, I'll do some, try to get it. I can feel it when I can get it to move, and try to keep it, because once it locks up, it gets really bad. But that's a good one. Yeah. Stretching out, getting your legs up. Yeah. I like those. The side saddle. That's cool. If you can get some, get some movement there. Be careful with that, people. Make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you know what you're doing. Clearly Matt does. Clearly I can do that. But yeah, you want to make sure of that. Any other tricks on that?
So if we're staying specifically while we're riding the motorcycle, clothing, I got to tell you, most people don't look at clothing as anything that can help them. I got to tell you right now that clothing is probably one of the biggest things that we can make our ride more comfortable. Your helmet, properly fitted helmet. It's not too heavy. A lightweight helmet for me is key because it keeps the strain off my necks, and compression clothing. For me, I have muscle cramps all the time, right? So even if it's summertime, I'm wearing compression clothing to help with the blood flow of being static for so long. It's kind of like riding an airplane, right? You try to wear compression socks to keep the blood flow going. So I do a lot of that. Now, here's the funny thing, and people are going to argue with me on this, but I'm going to tell you straight up, part of the most beneficial things that I found is I wear heated gear. And it's not to keep myself warm, but it's to keep the blood flowing in my lower back. And then I also wear cold gear. I'll wear stuff that I can, like a girdle, like an, elastic girdle or something. I can throw ice packs in my back to keep it, if it's too inflamed. Again, it's not really to cool you down, but it's just to help with the pain management while you're riding. Some people will argue against this, and I can tell you that I've worn a back brace while I'm riding. Not one of the just elastic ones, but the ones that actually have the support with like the metal spines in the back that actually give you that back support while you're riding. Now, the most important thing to remember about that, though, is if you're wearing a compression garment or a girdle of sort or a back brace, is you can't wear it all the time, because your body will rely on that support and you'll lose your core strength. And if you lose your core strength, it's going to make your ride 100 times worse than it was when you first started. So, but as far as, actually riding your motorcycle and maintaining the pain, it's you got to stay relaxed. You got to stay comfortable, because if you're stiff or anxious about the pain or anything like that, it's just going to make your ride not as enjoyable.
So I tried a few times this year wearing one of the, I got it off Amazon, one of those back, like the belt things that a lot of, warehouse workers and stuff. The jury's out for me on whether that helped or at all. I wore it on the KLR when I was doing some dual sport riding, and I rode it on one of our trips for a while on the Harley. What's your thoughts on that? Do you have any luck with those?
No, like I said, the ones that I've had really good luck with are the ones that actually have like the aluminum metal strips that actually support the curvature of your spine. And honestly, they're not that much more expensive than like the ones you saw, right? And hell, you can go to any medical supply store and go pick those up for $50.
Oh, good to know. I didn't even see those when I was looking. Yeah, good idea. See, I'm getting ideas.
So yeah, I mean, that's with the biggest thing I can tell you though. If you're gonna wear a brace while you're riding your motorcycle, don't do it for more than an hour at a time. More importantly, I would say that actually getting a seat pad and riding on the seat pad, and then at your next gas stop, taking that seat pad off to change your seating position would be more beneficial than riding with a back brace for longer periods of time.
Oh, good info, man. What about, you talked about compression clothing a little bit. Is there any specific that, just like the compression shirts? I know some like, there's one company, I see them every now and then. I can't remember what they are. I'm sure there's multiple companies, but it's a shirt and it kind of has the compression down by your back. Have you seen those?
I have. I don't have any experience with them. I typically wear, like the Under Armour or other type of compression gear, not the loose fit stuff, but the actual compression gear, and I'll size down on it. Okay. It's really tight. And that's just, especially for my core. But like for my socks, when I ride, I have a couple pairs of like the compression socks that are actually like medical grade compression socks to help with that.
Wow. I haven't seen those. So they're just a sock, but they're just like the same kind of material and super tight basically, or what?
Yeah, they're super tight. They're almost uncomfortable. They're so tight. But for the most part, I mean, once you get used to wearing them, when you take them off, it kind of hurts. You get that nice permanent indentation in your skin, but that actually helps me get rid of some of the numbness and tingling feeling in my legs while I'm riding.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good to know. And so compression, like pants too, you're rocking those too?
Yeah. I'll just get like, if it's in the summertime, I generally wear like, the Under Armour heat gear, just some really thin compression style, workout compression pants. Yeah. Yeah.
Good to know, man. What else gear wise or tips and tricks as we wind it down?
Honestly, let's go into some of these other considerations that I kind of jotted down here, kind of preparing for this.
Please do.
And, I'm going to sound like a damn doctor right now, and I don't have any medical degree or anything like that. But I got to tell you, ibuprofen is a godsend, right, when it comes to riding our motorcycles. Load up on that stuff. Obviously, don't take too much of it because that could cause some other effects that we don't want, right? But what I can tell you, stay off your pain meds, stay off your muscle relaxers, not only for the DUI standpoint of it, right? You can get DUIs or, that kind of stuff, but more of the dehydration part of it. If you're not hydrated, it's pretty difficult to ride long periods. And if you're taking these type of medications, one of their side effects is dehydration. And for my case, dehydration leads to severe muscle spasms and muscle cramps. And that's never a good thing when we're riding. Again, we talked about stretching. One of the biggest things that's helped me, and I mentioned this to you before, and I need to get your address after this so I can send you one. But there's a doctor, his name's Eric Goodman, and he has a book and a training program called Foundation Training. And it's almost like yoga for your back. And you feel funky doing it, even if you're in your own private home, whatever. It feels really weird and awkward. But that has been one of the biggest things that has helped me riding motorcycles longer distances, is following some of those training concepts and fundamentals that he has. And it's really helped me actually to be more energetic and more active in my life outside of motorcycles.
Yeah, nice, dude. Yeah, I'm open to all that stuff. That's cool. What else you got on your list there?
So, stay on paved roads. I got to tell you, if I got some time, I'm gonna share a little funny story here. I was riding with my Uncle Dan off of 395, and we decided to go hunting for some hot springs, and we were riding down some pretty gnarly dirt roads, and my wife's hitting me in the back of my helmet going, why is this a good idea? Why is this a good idea? And, we rode about 600 miles in 3 days that weekend, which isn't much, but I was more sore the hours and day after we went looking for that hot spring than I was riding back and forth to Redmond, Oregon in 3 days, So, if there's anything that we can get out of that, it's, you plan your routes that you're going to ride and avoid the crappy roads. Not only do we not want to damage our bike, but man, I got to tell you, that's probably one of the biggest things that I experienced is, those rough roads really do make a difference.
Save that for the old dual sport with good suspension if you're going to do that. Not on a Harley, right?
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of suspension, though, that's another thing that we kind of we missed over. I went a full Legend suspension on my bike, and that's probably one of the biggest improvements I've seen and made it a lot more comfortable to ride.
Good to know. Yeah, definitely suspension. There's so many different. We've done a bunch of suspension videos on on our YouTube channel. So check those out. You personally went with the Legends and you're happy with that?
Yeah, I am actually. I didn't get a chance to ride any of the other companies out there, but just some of the customer service I was dealing with Legend suspension and just the support that they offer. I wouldn't go back to any other brand if I had to.
Good to know. All right, what else have we got on our list here?
Honestly, I mean, I know it seemed like a pretty short list, but
it's not. No, it's actually a lot.
There's not much else. I mean, you can take everything that we've talked about today and really apply it to anybody if they want to ride long distances. Like you guys actually kind of took some of the wind out of my sails when you and Squid were talking about riding long distances, because those were a lot of topics that I was thinking about talking about, right? But if you go back to those previous episodes, I can't remember the number of that episode right now, but if you go back to some of those and incorporate that with what we were talking about today, I really think that anybody, as long as it's not a very significant and dangerous situation, I think anybody out there can ride for long distances, including those of us with back injuries.
Yeah. Well said. And that was, I'm looking, was episode 247, long distance street motorcycle riding tips, tricks, and experience. So yeah, that was a good call, bro. If you combine that and listen to that along with this episode, it's kind of like all the way around well balanced on riding cross country. So you took some, do you take a big trip this year? I know you went up to Redmond. Any other trips you took?
No, that's it. That was our trip for this year. With me running my own business and stuff like that, I haven't had a lot of time to ride as much as I wanted to. And I typically don't like to go on longer rides without my family, my Uncle Dan, and some of the other family members. So trying to get everybody together to go for a ride, it's a little bit difficult, especially in these times.
Nice. So, well, I'm going to be hitting you up. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag right here. I wasn't planning on doing this. I just thought of it because this episode won't be out for a couple months to the regular listening audience. But if you're a patron member, this is going to be uploaded to your patron account. And I will tell you guys first and you that our official decided trip this year is going to be to California, the California area for the law-abiding biker ride and patron member meetup event. I have no further details in that, honestly, because I haven't even planned the route yet. It's going to be a 9-day trip, but we're going to end up somewhere down there for the patron portion. So if it's okay, I'll be possibly in contact with you if it looks like that area or surrounding area. I really don't know. So if you have any suggestions too, not here on the podcast, but if you have any suggestions, we can chat. On where you think, and it's going to depend on where that fits in what we need to do as a club too, so right. I can't say it'll be, but I'm sure you have some good, insight for me. So you can certainly share that with me.
Again, from where we're at, I mean, we're 2.5 hours away from anywhere you want to be. And, we have very beautiful riding ability or opportunities out here, and, we'd be glad to have you.
Okay, well, I might be relying on you, bro. I might be relying on you to help me here, but I'll be in touch via email and stuff.
Sounds good.
Yeah, awesome. But it will be for all you folks listening in the Patron account. That's the official. It's going to be somewhere in California. We're going to head all the way, actually, end up down in at some point in Southern California. But I got to do some to-do stuff and figure out. I got some requests from the guys on exactly, certain requests and things like that. And I'm sure I'll get some more information from some of our California patron members who are always helpful with them. My mouse just went dead, so that's all right. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, man. I really do. As we take it out here, I think it was some great information. I know I learned a lot. I know it was helpful, and I hope that a lot of you out there who, number one, I hope you're not experiencing any back problems, but if you are, I hope this helps give you a light that you can still ride, because my back's a little bit better than it was. I'm getting it adjusted out and stuff, but there was one ride I took this year that it was an all-day ride, and it was like a 10-hour day, and I was like really depressed. I was like, I don't know, how am I gonna, and then things are better. I got some tricks and things like that, and these are some even more tricks, and maybe I'll get that adjustable back seat. But awesome, Matt, awesome information. All right.
It's been a pleasure, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you ever want to come back on the show, any of you folks out there, this is the platform, especially our patrons. There's just so much experience, like I said, and expertise out there that I can draw on, because I definitely don't even not even close to knowing it all, guys. So yeah, we did talk about suspension a little bit, which was cool. And of course, there's a lot of different brands out there, but I will tell you that if you're interested, we've had really good luck with Progressive suspension here. We've done a bunch of videos. Of course, if you want to support us and you're interested in Progressive suspension, we do carry that right in the law-abiding biker store. Get a better, smoother ride, guys. Be progressive about it. Get hooked up with Progressive suspension. Again, law-abiding biker store. Big Daddy Kane and Grunt are more than glad to help you out down there. And we've actually sold quite a few of those. And in fact, I have a couple more videos that are not quite edited yet on a Progressive suspension install. So there you go, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, was it getting cold down there, man? Were you in Merced?
That's a funny story. The last 2 days, it's been 80 degrees, and I posted up that I've been out riding my motorcycle the last few days. Now today, it's 59 degrees, and we got some rain coming this afternoon. So
yeah, it's that time of year, but 80 degrees ain't bad, man, for you guys. We had a cold spell here in Falls. And then we had some really cold, like down to 19 degrees at night, and it was kind of it got cold really quick. Honestly, usually we have a little transition, but we've had a little rain, but we've still had some 60-degree days. We still get out and get some riding in, so soon it will be December and snow on the ground, and then I'll be miserable.
Well, I'll think about you when I'm out riding in my 60-degree weather here in California.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you'll rub it in the private Facebook group. All right, guys, be well out there. Ride safe. Thanks for listening.